The winter of 2025 will be remembered in the United Kingdom for its shocking transformation. A season that began with gentle whispers of change and ended in a dramatic, icy crescendo. It started with an unusual mildness. People wore light jackets in December, and Christmas markets felt more like autumn fairs. The air was crisp but not cold, and many wondered if winter would ever truly arrive. But then, almost overnight, a brutal cold surge swept across the nation, catching millions off guard and shattering the illusion of a gentle winter. This wasn't just a cold snap, it was a deep freeze that brought the country to a standstill, halting daily routines and stranding travelers. The mild start made the sudden cold even more extreme, exposing vulnerabilities many had forgotten. Homes unprepared, roads untreated, and communities caught off balance. This is more than a weather story. It's about how we prepare and respond to nature's surprises, and how quickly our sense of normalcy can be upended. We'll break down the science behind this dramatic shift, from the polar vortex to the jet stream, and explain how these forces combine to create such an extraordinary event. A disturbance high above the North Pole triggered a chain reaction, sending Arctic air south and transforming the UK's weather in a matter of days. The result: chaos in daily life, from transport shutdowns to school closures, and a scramble to adapt to the new reality. We'll also share practical advice for future preparedness, helping you protect your home and loved ones when the next big freeze arrives. Sudden cold snaps are becoming more common in our changing climate, making it more important than ever to stay informed and ready. This winter was a wake-up call, a reminder that nature can still surprise us, no matter how advanced our forecasts may be. It taught us to respect the weather, to never take mild days for granted, and to always be ready for its surprises, big or small. Let's explore the story of the unforgettable winter of 2025 and discover what it means for the future of winters in the UK. Winter 2025 began with gentle, deceptive warmth. November faded into December with temperatures well above average. Parks stayed green, and heavy coats gathered dust. The positive North Atlantic Oscillation kept mild, moist air flowing over the UK, blocking Arctic cold. Forecasts predicted more of the same: mild days, cloudy skies, and little need for winter gear. People joked about a Spanish winter, and energy bills dropped. Local councils delayed winter preparations, and homeowners put off checking pipes and insulation. The psychological effect was significant. Everyone's guard was down, gritters weren't on standby, and salt stocks were low. The country was both physically and mentally unprepared. This calm before the storm lulled everyone into complacency. When the cold finally arrived, it was a shock. The mild start set the stage for the chaos to come. The nation was about to face a winter like no other. The pleasant start was dangerously soothing. No one expected what was coming next. The change was sudden and dramatic. In early January, forecasts turned urgent. Meteorologists warned of a sudden stratospheric warming event. Within 48 hours, temperatures plummeted. Cities like Manchester saw drops of over 15 degrees Celsius in a day. The infamous beast from the east arrived, bringing frigid Siberian air. For days, temperatures stayed below freezing, with nights dropping to -10 or lower. Rural Scotland and northern England saw even harsher lows. Ponds and rivers froze. The ground became rock hard. The shock was palpable. One day, no hats or gloves. The next, a generational deep freeze. Heavy snow followed, especially along the east coast. Fine, powdery snow was blown into massive drifts, creating blizzard conditions. Travel became impossible. The UK was now in a full-blown winter crisis. The Arctic had invaded, and it wasn't leaving soon. The mild start was a distant memory. The nation was unprepared for the severity of the freeze. To understand the sudden cold snap that gripped the UK, we need to look high into the atmosphere, far above the clouds we see every day. It's here, in the upper reaches of the sky, that the story of this winter's deep freeze truly begins. The polar vortex, a swirling mass of intensely cold air that sits above the North Pole, usually remains trapped by a powerful jet stream, circling the Arctic like a barrier and keeping the cold contained. Early winter in 2025 followed this familiar pattern, with the jet stream holding strong and the UK enjoying relatively mild, manageable weather for the season. But then, in January, a dramatic event called sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, shook things up. This rare phenomenon rapidly heated the upper atmosphere, throwing the polar vortex into chaos. The vortex weakened, wobbling and splitting apart, much like a spinning top that suddenly loses its balance and starts to tumble, unpredictably. This collapse unleashed extreme winter weather across the entire northern hemisphere, setting the stage for blizzards and heavy snowfall. Frigid Arctic air, no longer held back, broke away from the pole and surged southward, bringing a biting chill to regions unaccustomed to such cold. The jet stream, now wavy and unstable, opened a direct path for this cold air to pour into the UK, making the country vulnerable to Arctic blasts. High pressure systems over Scandinavia and Siberia intensified, driving powerful easterly winds and delivering what's known as the Beast from the East. The result was a perfect storm of atmospheric conditions: snow, ice, and relentless cold sweeping across Britain. The SSW acted as the spark, the jet stream became the open door, and high pressure was the driving force behind the onslaught of winter. The UK found itself exposed to Siberian cold, with streets and cities transformed by snow and ice. This was a textbook example of how global weather patterns can shift rapidly, turning a mild winter into a historic freeze almost overnight. The science behind this deep freeze is as dramatic and fascinating as the impact it had on daily life across the country. The breakdown of the polar vortex changed everything, reminding us just how interconnected and dynamic our planet's weather systems truly are. The polar vortex breakdown set off a domino effect, sending shockwaves through the atmosphere and setting the stage for a dramatic shift in the UK's weather. First, a sudden stratospheric warming event rapidly weakened the polar vortex, disrupting the usual flow of air high above the Earth. Next, the jet stream lost its straight west-to-east path. It buckled and twisted, creating what's known as a Greenland block, a stubborn area of high pressure that blocked the usual Atlantic weather systems from reaching the UK. With the Atlantic's mild, moist air cut off, the UK was left exposed to cold, dry air masses sweeping in from the east. High pressure over Scandinavia locked in the chill, with persistent easterly winds funneling frigid Siberian air straight toward Britain. This air, having crossed vast stretches of frozen land, arrived in the UK dry and bitterly cold, intensifying the wintry conditions. The combination of the Greenland block and the Scandinavian high created a powerful cold corridor, funneling Arctic air directly into the heart of the UK. As this icy air mass moved over the relatively warmer waters of the North Sea, it picked up moisture, leading to the formation of persistent snow clouds that targeted the UK's eastern coasts. These weren't dramatic, sweeping weather fronts, but rather relentless, almost never-ending snow showers that blanketed towns day after day. The direction of the wind was crucial. Easterly winds meant a constant risk of snow for the east, with flurries driven inland by the biting breeze. The interconnectedness of these weather systems became unmistakably clear, as changes in one region rippled across the entire country. A disturbance high in the stratosphere had triggered chaos on the ground, transforming daily life and travel across the UK. The UK's usual weather regime was completely reversed, with familiar mild winters replaced by scenes of deep snow and icy streets. Like a row of dominoes, each atmospheric change set off the next, culminating in a cascade of snowy events. The result was unmistakable: a nation gripped by an Arctic blast, with people bracing against winds and roads transformed into sheets of ice. The science behind these events explained the severity of the crisis, helping experts and the public alike understand just how extraordinary this winter truly was. The extreme cold and snow paralyzed the UK overnight. Roads became icy traps, with drifts blocking even major motorways. Thousands of motorists were stranded for hours in freezing conditions. Public transport collapsed, trains were cancelled, airports shut down, and flights delayed. Schools closed for safety, leaving parents scrambling for childcare. Homes became both refuge and worry. Demand for heating soared, straining the energy grid. Power cuts loomed as supply struggled to keep up. Poorly insulated homes turned frigid. Burst pipes caused widespread damage. Plumbers were overwhelmed. For the elderly and vulnerable, the cold was a serious threat. The nation's infrastructure was not built for such extremes, and the country ground to a halt. And the crisis exposed deep weaknesses. Yet the winter's impact was immediate and severe. Beyond statistics, the Big Freeze had a real human cost. Stranded motorists shared supplies and warmth, embodying community spirit. Emergency services worked tirelessly, braving icy roads to help those in need. Hypothermia and injuries spiked, especially among the elderly. Mountain rescue teams helped reach isolated patients. Families faced financial strain from burst pipes and business closures. Farmers struggled to care for livestock in the deep cold. Mental health suffered as isolation and stress grew. Community groups opened warm banks, offering shelter and support. Acts of kindness became lifelines. The winter revealed both vulnerability and resilience. Communities pulled together in the face of adversity. The winter of 2025 was a lesson in preparation. We can't stop sudden weather events, but we can be ready. Governments must invest in winter resilience, more salt, snowplows, and robust energy grids. Households should have emergency kits, blankets, food, water, and radios. Insulating homes is vital for comfort and safety. Draft-proofing and government support for insulation make a difference. Community resilience matters. Check on vulnerable neighbors and share information. The spirit shown during the freeze was inspiring. Stronger networks mean no one faces the cold alone. Preparation is everyone's responsibility. The next cold snap could come at any time. Let's be ready, together. The winter of 2025 left a lasting mark on the UK. It reminded us that we live at the mercy of powerful atmospheric forces. Meteorology is about more than daily forecasts. It's about understanding risks to our lives and economy. The polar vortex's behavior can shut down schools and businesses. As the climate changes, such disruptions may become more common. We must adapt and build resilience. The contrast between mild and extreme cold showed how fast things can change. Preparation is key for governments and individuals alike. A little readiness can prevent a crisis. The story of this winter is a lesson in respect for nature. By learning from the Big Chill, we can face future challenges with confidence. The sky above shapes our world. Let's pay attention and be prepared.